So let me share with you a mistake I made. Tony Katz, 93 WIBC. On Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Be sure to like the page. I was on Fox yesterday with Leland Vittert. I did a lot of TV over the weekend, and I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be asked. It's very, very cool. It's fun. I enjoy the daylights out of it. I don't enjoy punditry, but I enjoy conversation. And this was a myself and another radio host who's a Democrat, and that always ends up in some kind of yelling thing. I don't enjoy that part, but I enjoy being asked. I was on with Leland Vittert, and it was a question that Leland posed to me about an article from Maureen Dowd about the Democratic Party. The opinion piece is on the New York Times, and it's called "Scaling Wokeback Mountain," which is a good name for a piece. And the quote that Leland asked me about was, the 79-year-old speaker and the 29-year-old freshman are trapped in a generational and ideological tangle that poses a real threat to the Democrats' ability to beat Donald Trump next year. And he asked me about this.
To mark July 14th, 2019 in the history books is the day that you might agree with Maureen Dowd.
I'm sure it's happened before. I mean, we don't get together and get coffee, but, I'm willing to buy Maureen anytime. I just don't know if I call it a spat. I think it's much more intense than that, because there's a conversation about the soul for the Democratic Party about what path they want to go down. But even if we were to disagree about that, no one can disagree that this looks very, very bad for the Democratic Party. And when this starts infiltrating the candidates for 2020, then it really gets awful.
Now, I'm not wrong about how bad this looks, this fight between Representative Ocasio-Cortez and her squad and Speaker Pelosi. I'm not wrong about when the candidates start having to make decisions about this. Oh, it's going to be awful for them, and it's going to further divide, because you make the wrong decision, you might lose supporters and voters. What I was wrong about, and I went back and corrected it later, was that this is a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party. I put forth to you that is absolutely wrong. What I wanted to say was this is about control of the Democratic Party, because the soul has already been decided. And it was a part of this conversation where it was the progressive Democrats and the moderate Democrats, and I put forth to you there are no moderate Democrats. And that's why it's not about the soul. The soul is already set. The fight between Representative Ocasio-Cortez and Speaker Pelosi is not about the soul of the party. It's about the control of the party, and it's about who gets the keys to the car. We are having a conversation, or we are watching a conversation amongst the Democrats about what speed they want to go to their nonsensical socialist promised land. Not about whether or not they're going there. It's about who gets the keys to the soon-to-be outlawed sports car because it puts out too many emissions. That's the argument. So it's imperative, and I'm going to be getting deep into this on Tony Katz today, and I'm going to have more video out about this and everything else. The sole question has been decided. The question is, what speed are they willing to go to get to their desires? And what you've learned from Speaker Pelosi and her chief of staff, Saikat Chakrabarti, and from the rest of the Democratic Party, and even from people at the Washington Post and others, they want to go at hyperspeed. Literally, it's Spaceballs. They want to go ludicrous speed. They have no plans of stopping whatsoever. They're going into the plaid. Nancy Pelosi just wants to go slower. And for going slower, she gets called a racist. And for saying, hey, small baby steps is how you get to where you want to be, she gets called all sorts of names by the more fast speed willing political left. That's the truth. And we've got more to get into. But when it comes to the soul, no, there's no fight for the soul. They want the socialist agenda, and they do believe in open borders. This has been decided. The question is, how fast do they want to try and get there? Oh, and then, of course, for us, whether or not we want them to be anywhere near the car. I'm Tony Katz.
93 WIBC.